Hello, everyone. Like I stated, remember, I'm not going to be posting videos of me. I'm just going to be doing voice recordings. It doesn't take up as much space and it will upload into YouTube a lot quicker. Okay? So, sorry you don't get to see me. Chapter 7, I'm going to do a real quick rundown through them. Okay? Chapter 7 covered nonverbal communication. The basic definition for nonverbal communication is messages sent with non-linguistical value. This means it cannot be translated into a language. It does not mean that you are sending messages without words. It is without a language. Remember that one of the 7 types of nonverbal communication is voice. So it is not sending it without words. It is sending it without language. It cannot be translated into a languages. Okay? So you are sending messages with no linguistical value. These are very vital. Every one of you do this. Remember, I told you 93% of what we communicate is done non-verbally. Only 7% is done verbally. So why do we trust the 7%? That is going to be one of your discussion questions. I'm going to put it in this next module. Even though this is an old one, I will do it and put it on there so you guys can better understand why, okay? But remember, everything you do has communication value. The way you walk, the way you talk, the way you dress. Time is even a part of nonverbal. Those of you who are logging in on Sunday at the last minute to do your work, that is sending me a message non-verbally. Whether you mean to do it or not, it's sending me a message. Okay? So when you run late to meet your friends at a party, it's sending them a message non-verbally. So time is a very big part of this, okay? We do this in nonverbal communication and mediated communication. Remember, this was just sending messages over technology, so emails. You use emoticons, you use punctuation, stuff like that, okay? Here are some functions. Repeating. Again, some of you did not read your book because repeating is not saying something over and over. Repeating is where you say it verbally and then you repeat it non-verbally. So if I tell you to go to the left, and then I point to the left, I'm repeating the message only non-verbally. Complimenting. It's when your nonverbal matches your verbal. If I'm sitting here crying and I say, I'm fine, there's nothing wrong, my verbal is not matching it. My verbal needs to match my nonverbal. So if I say, I'm happy to see you, I should be smiling and look happy. Substituting is where you substitute a verbal answer with a nonverbal. So instead of saying, hi, how are you? Instead of replying and saying, fine, you just smile and give me a thumbs up. You're answering me nonverbally instead of verbally. Accenting is where you put a certain emphasis on a word. So this is that part of voice. Okay? So instead of just, it's not sending messages without words. Remember, it's sending messages without language. Remember, dude, dude, dude. I'm putting an emphasis on each word differently. They mean different things. Mom, mother, mother, ama. All of those things. The way I say it, the tone is going to mean different things. Regulating, all of you pretty much got this one right. It is just controlling somebody else's speech. And then contradicting is the opposite of complimenting. Remember, complimenting is when they go together. Verbal and nonverbal go together. So contradicting will be when nonverbal does not match your verbal. I'm sure all of you who are married have heard this from your wife. You ask her, honey, is anything wrong? And she's like, no, nothing's wrong. What makes you think something's wrong? You hear that tone of voice, you know there's something wrong, even though she says nothing is wrong. Okay? That's contradicting. Another word for this is mixed messages. Remember, nonverbal communication simply offers deception cues. It's called leakage. Okay? Leakage. Leakage. You are leaking out the truth. Okay? So that's all it is. It could be somebody trying to deceive you, maliciously. It could be somebody who is trying to hide something for your own good. But it's all it is deception clues. It does not mean that something is really malicious, it just means something's not right. Okay, I will give you some examples of this later on in other videos so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. And remember, it is ambiguous, okay? Just like verbal. A smile doesn't always mean happiness. Just because a girl looks at you and says hello doesn't mean she wants your body. It just means she's polite and she's saying hi. Just because people laugh at you does not mean they're laughing at you. They could be thinking of something else. Okay? Remember, look at Simon's face. His happy face, his sad face, there was not a lot of emotion. So, how can you know when Simon's happy? Put a cake in front of him, you'll see him happy. But this is it, okay? Remember, there's going to be influences, gender, and culture will influence everything. Men and women are different when it comes to nonverbal. Women are better at expressing nonverbal. Women are better at interpreting nonverbal. Women are better at understanding it and using it. Again, men, it's not that you're better people than us women, it's just that we just don't care. Remember, it's not important to us. Culture. Culture plays a very big part of nonverbal, especially when it comes to personal space. In America, you have an imaginary bubble. Other cultures, it's different. In Afghanistan, they stand face to face, just friends talking. In Russia, when they greet each other, they kiss each other on the lips. Men and women, men and men kiss each other hello, women kiss each other alone. Okay? So remember that it is different contact. Us in America, we smack each other on the butt. Especially when we're doing sports. We tell each other, good job, smack, smack on the booty. We don't do that in other situations. Why? Because it's only done during sports. If one of you takes my test and gets 100, I can't smack you on the butt and say good job. That's not the correct location and stuff like that, okay? So environment plays a very, very big part of this. Eye contact. Remember, in our culture, eye contact is very important. If somebody breaks eye contact, I was taught that they are trying to deceive you. Okay? Use of time. There's monochronic, chronic, polychronic. I love that word. Anyway, monochronic just means that these are cultures that are stressing time with culture and gender. Men are monochronic. Okay? Polychronic means you're flexible. You can multitask. This is more women. Now, this is not exactly a bad thing. Remember in that video you all watched, when you monochronic, men do this. That's why some of the greatest inventors, artists, musicians are best because they're men, because they focus on a task until they master it. Polychronic, you multitask. That's more women. I know when I'm cooking, it's a simple egg, frying an egg, but the radio's off. Nobody bother me because I can't multitask. I'll burn the house down. So I can only do one task. Now, yes, you can learn to multitask. I had a job in the military where I had to learn to multitask, so I was able to do that. But for the most part, men can't do that. It's only women. Then there are some universal behaviors. You know, some people think nodding your head yes is universal. There are some countries that going yes, nodding your head is no. It's opposite. Okay? A thumbs up in America means I need a ride or good job. In England, it's offensive. You're telling somebody basically F you. So you have to be careful. There are no universal. There may be some, you rub your stomach to say, oh, I have bellyache. You may rub your head to show you have a headache or something like that. Put your hand on your head to show you have a fever. Some of those may be universal. You can understand those in other cultures. But there are some really that are not. Okay? The peace sign, there's one. I don't know who it is. If you show your wrist or your palm, it's offensive or something like that to whatever. So remember that. Just be aware that it doesn't mean the same thing everywhere. Okay? This is just part one. Please make sure you watch part two, okay?